Wojo, let's go through some of this. Okay, you have the column up, season and suspension loom for Jim Harbaugh. Bumped into you the other day in Ann Arbor. What's your take on Jim Harbaugh going into this season with the suspension and his latest jabs at the NCAA in the system?
Yeah, well, he's not happy, obviously, but he's not going to. I mean, he'll rail or he fight back as only Jim Harbaugh can, with kind of in code and with, I thought it was relatively clever of him, although he believes the players, the revenue sharing thing, he's espoused things like that before. For him to talk about it Monday before the Open, I think that clearly was directed at either a okey doke, don't look here, look over here, or further, like, the NCAA has all these other things that I think they need to work on, and without saying it, they're focused on this. I mean, they'll deal with it. They're lucky that they do have three relatively weak opponents and a veteran team. And I mean, it would be interesting if this were to happen next year in Texas as week number 2, how it would happen. But I think, and he does a pretty darn good job of hiding it, I think he's pissed. Now, deep down, I think he's also probably a little pissed at himself for letting it get this far. I know the principles, and his principle is he's not going to admit he was lying when he thinks he wasn't lying. But there had to have been an easier avenue to get through this without turning into, Russia versus the U.S. as far as the NCAA and Michigan, because I kind of feel like that's what it is, both leery and wary of each other. And Harbaugh shouldn't get embroiled in this, but you know what? The NCAA shouldn't be making it seemingly personal either with some of the things they've said and done and are still doing apparently. So they can't, I mean, these little new punishments keep getting snuck in, like no recruits available to be on the sidelines for the first 2 games. And I don't know. It's just sort of hodgepodge, like do something else. Nope, not enough. All right, do something else. Nope, not enough. What else? What else you got? It feels weird to me, and part of it is because Harbaugh's probably making it difficult for them as well.
Oh, I'm sure he is. And Jim talked about this yesterday. We debated it, whether it was the right time, the wrong time to poke the bear, not that they're already investigating Jim Harbaugh. But in regards to what he did have to say, can you envision a world where there is a profit sharing between whether it's universities, it's conferences, or just whatever entity would run college football and the athlete?
Not really, not in the traditional sense, because this has been talked about for so long, pay the players, and then NIL came along, and even though it is still in its somewhat formative stages, it does serve the purpose of at least getting money to the players who, quote unquote, earn it the most. In other words, the stars. Now, how do you revenue share? What does the second string tackle get versus the starting quarterback? How do you decide whose share is how big? Is it all schools the same? Is it based on your TV contract? Is it based on your attendance? I think it's too difficult, and I think he knows it's too difficult. So he threw out this very big idealistic idea, which everybody would say, of course, yes, players' rights, that makes sense, which he even admitted. He goes, I don't have the plan. I don't have the answers. This is my opinion. Just put it out there for others to think about, and which is fine, but it's way beyond the scope of a short answer, if ever an answer, with revenue sharing. And then you get into Title IX and women's sports, and I don't think it could ever get to that. But then again, people envision that NIL would never appear and then become bastardized as it has.